Just as we've seen in that moment, resourcefulness. So that's what we're looking at in this presentation. How do you create quality imagery with your phone? So there's a few principles, a few hard rules to follow. What we're going to focus on is just three main points, which is to hold your phone like a pro so that you can drop it like it's hot. Yeah, principles of a great photograph. So there are key principles that will relate over from film days all the way up into today. So how you take that photograph, the device has changed, but how you take the photograph is still very important. And then also we're going to move into how you can get present, how you can actually add more to that device by your presence in that moment, by being aware, by being, looking at your office work and seeing, okay, that's a great moment for content, that's a great opportunity. So the basic simples of taking professional quality photographs with your phone, it's the same as everything. Learn, practice, repeat, learn, practice, repeat. You don't have film days where you have to go out and buy another roll and cost you so much money, and you can just shoot until your heart's content. Can we get onto the next slide? Thank you. Beautiful. In between bites. Love it. So how you hold your phone. So you can see in these shots we're at sunset, and if we don't, especially at sunset or low light, if we don't hold the phone properly, we're going to get blurry images. Why is it, and you get, even if maybe you've got a bit of the shakes. Some people have a bit of the shakes. You're going to get those moments where you get blurry images. So what you want to do is you want to be able to support the phone with anchor points. So when you're holding it landscape, what you can do, you can bring this hand underneath, and it's just an air tripod. Think of it like that. So it's a tripod in the air. And then you put your palms together like that, and then you use your thumb. You're going to use your thumb to take photographs, and that's what you're going to use. And then when you're doing it with your portrait style, it's the same sort of thing. So you're just using it to support. If you want extra support, if you're shooting right at sunset, then you want to bring your elbows into your hips. Because what's that doing is that's stabilizing it. So it's like having the camera on a tripod. You're the tripod. And that's going to really help you to get those sunset photographs, low light photographs, and also frame up properly. Because a lot of times, wonky framing, just grab a quick image, and we're doing this. So it's blurry, it's wonky. So it might look a bit awkward at first, or it might feel a bit awkward, but just find little ways of just, anchoring your shot, and you'll get a much better photograph straight away. The framing will be better, and it won't be as blurry. Thank you. Next slide between bites. Photography principles. Obviously what you've got here, just to show you quickly, is you've got rule of thirds. So if you break an image up into 9 squares, what you want to do is you want to put the point of subject, the point of reference, so where the viewer's eye is going to lead to, on those thirds lines. So perfect ideal would be on one of these corners, so you can see your hands on that corner. So what that does naturally for our eye is seen in odds, is seen in rule of thirds, is that we go towards that point instantly. So if you had her hand in the center, it wouldn't quite pull us in as much as if you have it on that rule of thirds line. You can go to more grid lines and different grid lines, but rule of thirds is a really great one, and you can set it up in your phone. I've got a phone photography course, and in that course I go through and show you on different devices how to set that up. But to have your rule of thirds is a really great way to be able to start taking better imagery, more powerful, and the portraits just stand out a little bit more. And also obviously here what we're doing is we don't want to photograph people and cut their heads off. So just being aware of what's behind the person. Is there a tree behind the person? Is there her horizon? Is there something unusual coming out of that head? Because you'll go home, you'll sit there and you'll go, great, I've got my photos, I'm ready to go and post. And then you'll look at it and you go, wow, I can't post that. Let me go into Photoshop for 12 hours and try and edit it. So it creates a bit of a bigger challenge. Yes, yeah, exactly. So, and in order to do that, what you do is you just come up a little bit. It also makes people look thinner and fitter. Yes. So if you shoot below, you're going to expand everyone. And another thing is with a phone camera, the lenses are usually quite wide. So for me, being a Greek, if I put the camera close to my face, my schnoz just comes out, pokes people in the eye on the other side of the device. So you really want to pull the camera back so that you can actually, and you don't want to, especially when you're shooting weddings, you don't want to have a bride to the edge of the frame, because then you expand her. If you expand her even a touch, Yeah, you're dead. So straight away. So yeah, so you want to make sure that you've got, especially when you've got a wide lens, and the phone camera is generally a wide lens. You've got zoom options nowadays, but you want to be able to put. Oh, yeah, sneak on past there. That's okay. Roll on through. And yeah, so you want to make sure you've got the person in the center of the frame, not on the edges, and just come up a little bit, and then that way you'll be able to move the horizon as you go up and down. Next slide, sorry. Thank you very much. That was fast. So here we've got another photography principle, which is leading lines. Now, with photography, if you look at photography like storytelling, it really allows you to see it another way. So whether you're writing, when you're writing a book or writing something, you want to add sequence. So it's the order in which you put sentences that make people want to turn the next page. So with photography, it's the order in which you put elements. So we've got here a flag that's leading right up into the center. So that's where I want people to focus. I want people to focus on this medieval character. And then the line is leading up to there. So that's straight away, a basic way of doing it with leading lines is to cut the frame off and have the leading line at the bottom of the frame. Another way to do it is to look at your different, you've got different colors, contrasting colors. Person's on the rule of thirds there once again, and then you can't see it so well in here, but the wires are leading down to her, so that creates rule of thirds. Here you've got scratch marks. So this is in a a cargo transport thing, and you've got these scratch marks that lead to the slight expression from the person's face. This is probably the simplest one, but can anybody notice a mistake with this photograph?
The attention is on that black, the dark area, instead of being on the left.
Very close. Well, what it is that you've got leading lines, but they're not leading to anywhere interesting. They're not leading to a point. So when you're thinking of your viewer, they want to land on something. They don't want to just be looking, if you look at paintings and things like that, come on through. No worries. You want to take the viewer to a certain point. So if you're advertising, hey, one of my recent clients, he's got a product, it's a device that you put on a tank, water tanks, and it measures how much water's in there. So if I was going to put that in the shot, I would put it on a corner and I would lead lines up to it. So I might lead other tanks to that product. So you want to be able to lead it. Whatever you're selling, whatever you're advertising, whatever you're showing, if you want people to look at a certain point, use these principles and make sure you're leading them somewhere. Alrighty, so yes, so to get a perfect image, there's 3 key elements to combine. So right here in the center, that's your photographic perfection, okay? Composition, so where you place things, like I said, composition in the image, which is what we've gone through. Lighting, and that's where you get a little bit more professional, but you can use lighting to actually point to where you want the person to go. So here you've got shadows over the eye, and it kind of draws you into that eye. There's an interesting pattern. Over here you've got side lighting. You've got one light coming this way and one light coming to the back. And so basically what that does is it pops the portrait out of the background, and then it kind of just creates a more interesting texture. So yeah, you want to be able to have your lighting right, and also the right subject. So subject is what you're choosing to photograph. It could be a beautiful person, but maybe they don't have a beautiful expression at that time that you wanted to capture that adds to that story. So for my grandfather, for Clivey, he's an architect, right? And so he had his beret on that morning, and I saw this moment, but he had that look of looking out, observing, and it kind of interests you a little bit more. If he just had a big old happy smile, it wouldn't be the same sort of shot. So that's where you got to combine subject, lighting, composition all together, and you get the perfect image. Now, one thing that really helps you to take perfect images, which is something that humanity struggles with in our modern era, which is being fully present in the moment, and so being here now, being aware, and that's where you're going to get good photographs. So there's a few things you can do if you're wanting to get some nice photographs. If maybe you're a bit anxious, you've got your new fashion lineup or your new products, whatever it is, and you're going, I just can't get the right photograph. There's a few things you can do to be able to get present. So obviously, there's many breathing techniques. 7, 8, 9, which is breathe in for 7 seconds, hold for 8 seconds, breathe out for 9. Do that for about 5 times, and you'll slowly just start becoming aware of your environment. The next one is locational, and that's basically you're looking at things in the room and you are acknowledging their presence. So you can, and you'll do it in your head, you don't have to do it out loud, but you say, look at the chair, okay, look at the light, okay, look at it. And more you start becoming aware, because our mind is just constantly filtering out so much information in our day, and we can totally miss, oh my gosh, there was a Coke can in the back of that product shoot, how could I miss that? Or whatever it is, you know, so doing a locational really helps you as well.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite time of the day that you find photos always turn out better?
I like to shoot early morning, late at night if I'm using, so I use a lot of lighting, so I can shoot at any time. But if you don't have a lot of lighting, I like to shoot, so right now you can see it's the middle of the day, harsh shadows, it's quite flat, where early morning is really, really nice, and I like sunrises too. And then also the third principle is just see, don't look. So look, what I mean by that is they're two different things. You know, I'm looking at this chair, I'm looking at Clarence, I'm looking at Kathy. Where seeing is you're bringing your eyes back a little bit and you're just observing everything. And so when you're shooting at a wedding, you don't want to be looking just at the bride or just at the uncle, because you might miss another moment. You want to bring your eyes back a little bit and just, in your peripheral vision, you start seeing things move and then you zone into that target. Are there any questions?
Quick question. For those who often take photos on their camera,
Yes.
how do they keep the compression
Yes.
and the high resolution that we, others, can utilise them in content without them being compressed, like how to upload
Yes.
to
So
OneDrive and G-Drive?
yeah. So obviously, if you send that photo straight away onto Facebook, Facebook crushes it down to absolutely nothing. I find Gmail and Google Drive or Mail is where, if you're like exporting it like onto a computer, they save the most amount, the actual data. So going straight to social media sites, they will usually compress it, obviously because they're wanting that quick refresh. So yeah, I would send it to either your Gmail or Google Drive.
Have the app on your phone for OneDrive or something like
Upload, yeah, and that's right, yeah. So have the app on your phone, yeah, definitely.
Because we've got these on our table, we can still write these. So is the Wham Bam Biz referral we could give you today?
Okay.
Is the best referral we can give you? Just to rehash it.
So the best referral for me is, in photography is people that are in marketing, web development, people that are helping a lot of business owners get online, which has been more and more since 2020. So people in that marketing space, even SEO, are really, really great people for me. So thank you.